Good evening. Good. My mic over here a little further. Hi, how's everybody this evening? Happy Tuesday. I never understand that. I just can't get it. I don't understand this. So let's see. We'll just come over here to the chat window while we wait for folks to get connected and say good evening to Tim Myers. Tim and I had a great discussion over the last week or so about some work he's doing on his rig. Get ready to upgrade lithium. I got the yawns really bad tonight, so you'll have to. I'll apologize in advance. I didn't get a nap today. I usually try to knock out about an hour nap, round 2, and I was busy doing other stuff. So, anyway, yeah, so it looks like Gary D's in from sunny Arizona, literally 107 degrees today down there. Yeah, it looked really hot. I was watching the forecast this morning, and that heat's headed this way. I think it's supposed to be 90 here on Saturday and 70 on Sunday. Thank you, Ian. Ian Fox is in and wishing me a happy birthday. Yes, it is my birthday today. He wants to know how 45 feels, and 45 felt good. Today, I feel sore everywhere for no reason. I think it's just getting old. You know how it is, folks. Two Feathers is in. Hi, Two Feathers. So great to see you here. Thanks for the birthday wishes, Gary. And Shauna from Northern Arizona. Hi, so nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us tonight. Bruce from Vincent RV Life's here. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Jeff Ripplinger's in. He's in Colorado, so great to have you here as well, Jeff. Two Feathers says, I have the same birthday as my beloved grandmother. She was born in 1905. Wow, that's cool. And a birthday wish from Jeff. Thank you. Yes, bring your own tea tonight. I don't drink that much anymore. I did have a couple cocktails with friends this weekend. We went out for burgers on Saturday. That was my big birthday thing. Shauna from Northern Arizona, she says, happy birthday. Her son's birthday is today also, 6/7 of 89. How about that? Judy Kimbrough's in from Alabama. Or, wait a minute. Judy, you're not in Alabama. All right, well, I don't know. I can't remember. I think you are in Alabama. And Kendra Wright. Hi, Kendra. Thanks for the birthday wishes. And also to you, Judy. Thank you. Two Feathers says it's still raining here in Washington. Yeah, we had a little sprinkle overnight. We had a little rain the last couple days. It rained a 1/10 of an inch on Sunday. And it's supposed to be nice the rest of the week, but it's pollen season, and I'll tell you what, my eyes are so cruddy and crusty, and I've been sneezing up a storm, and I've been working out back on the truck camper. I got a little clip I'll share with you today, show you where I'm at on that. The cancer's pretty severe, but I think I'm getting ahead of it. The cancer on my truck camper. Okay, let's not get anybody worried here. Tom Downey, hi. So nice to have you here, and thanks for the birthday wishes. Randy, thank you for the birthday wishes. Robert Black's in. He says, got 98 in Southeast Texas today, and a happy birthday from him. Awesome. KX Racer's in. He got a new video up on I think it might have been yesterday, where he finally got his truck camper painted. Looked really good, guy. I mean, it turned out really nice. I was really impressed. That Sherwin-Williams paint you used looked like it worked really, really well once you got that sprayer going. I used to have one of those cheap, gun-type sprayers, and I got rid of the thing. It never worked right, and I ended up going with a real sprayer when I started the house renovation here, I bought a Graco, the same one I'd had like two or three of them, and I'd use it, do a project with it, and then sell it, and then end up 2 or 3 years later having to do another project and get one and then sell it, and you know how that goes. Anyway, Judy says I went all blurry and she don't drink, and I noticed that too. Is the video really blurry? What's going on here? It looks okay here. How's that? It is kind of blurry on YouTube's end. What's it say? It says my connection's good. Let me look at the health here real quick. It says it's healthy. And everything looks to be okay. It does look a little blurry. I apologize for that. Not much I can do about that. Huh. Robert says put a COVID mask over my eyes. Yeah, that makes it difficult. Randy Waller says they got severe weather looking around Iowa, a few tornadoes as well. Yeah, a friend of mine in Minnesota, his house got wiped out by a tornado last week. I guess it basically took everything. Family was fine, but he lost his home. They're still in the process of trying to recover their personal belongings and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess, well, really, I don't think the house got too bad, but it got blown off the foundation, and then a big-ass tree fell on him, well, on the house. They weren't even home at the time. Yeah, I can see that it seems to be out of focus, but I'm not sure. Everything on my end looks fine, but I can see in the stream replay that it's really not focused well. Sorry about that. I apologize. Not a lot I can do about that, I don't think. So, Jeff says it's okay, looking good. Too much background light. Yeah, it is a little bit bright. Let me bring this down here just a touch more and see if that helps any at all. Kendra Wright looks good on her end. Tim Myers, foreground is okay. Okay, super. So yeah, been working on the truck camper. Finally getting deep into that. And I'll share it with you a little bit of a clip I shot today at the end of the day. So you can see there, I've got a lot of the you know, the bad wood out. Basically, I had to tear the whole front apart, and then this whole side, the was rotten. There's most of the, you know, the materials that came off, but yeah, everything up there around the kitchen area there and down below there, that wood was all rotten. And so yeah, I spent $126 on lumber today at Home Depot, and I hope to have this superstructure put back together here in the next couple of days. Been kind of surgically going in and cutting out the rotten wood where I could, and so excited to get that thing put back together. But I've got, yeah, Randy says it's pretty drastic. Yeah, it was rotten. I knew, you know, and it's like anything. You start tearing into it and you find more rot and you find more rot. And I don't know. I can't just leave it, right? I have to dig into it and make it right. And so that's what I'm doing. Robert says, big job on the camper. Yeah, I got a couple, 3 days into tearing that apart now. But I've been going really slow and careful. And I've been bracing it, you know, to try to keep things. I'm going to have to finally finish pulling the roof off tomorrow. I've got a friend coming over to help. We'll slide that off and just set it on the ground for the next week or so while I finish up some work up on the front. But yeah. Oh, and KX Racer says, wow, that's a lot farther than I thought you were going to tear into the camper. Yeah, you know, Guy, like I said, I got into it and I kept finding rotten wood. And also some of the area there in the kitchen, I'll go back to this here real quick. And that wall you see there in the front, I knew that was all rotten, and I still have a bunch of work to do on the deck there. You can see there where it's leaning on the ladder. I'm using that. And then on this other side here, I kind of just built that brace out of a 2x4 and another hunk of wood. But that wall right there that you're looking at, it was only rotten for the first, maybe 2.5 feet. I just took it out because I was trying to get to a spot where I could seam, and the seam would be behind a cabinet. And so I just took that wall out far enough back that I could hide the seam behind there's a closet cabinet there, pantry I guess is really what you would call it. In the kitchen, on the inside, there's a cabinet. And so the seam will be right behind the cabinet there. I couldn't find Luan with the paper on it, you know, like they use in campers. So what I did get was I got some 1/8 inch hardwood paneling from Home Depot, and I'll just prime it and paint it white. I was going to paint the whole inside of the camper anyway, so it'll all match. But yeah. Two Feathers says it's always worse than you think. Yeah, I knew it was going to be bad, and it looks a lot worse than it really is. But yeah, getting the superstructure back together is going to be a bit of a challenge. But I took it out in big hunks, and so I could remember how it went back together. And of course, I'm shooting videos, so I can always go back and look at my videos. And Tom Downey says he spent all week polishing the aluminum rear wheels and changing the stem to a straight one to clear the air chuck. Yeah, did you get the stem fixed? KX Racer says, I know exactly what you're going through. It takes time, but at least you will know it will be built right in the end. Yeah, that's my whole strategy, right? I mean, you know, I plan on having this thing for at least 10 years. And never say never, right? But I'm planning on trying to have it for about 10 years, and so I'm trying to do it right. By the way, if you have any questions or comments, please make them over in the chat window. If you have RV-related questions, I'm happy to try to help you out. I had a couple questions come in this week. I'm hoping I invited some folks to come on to the live stream and ask their questions, because it's so much easier to interact this way and get the level of information that I need. I had a question come in about some ACs that wouldn't start, and another question that came in, and I just, you know, rather than wanting sentence back and forth trying to gain more information, especially on YouTube in the comments, in an email, it's not bad. And by the way, you can always email me, trbolin@gmail.com. I'm happy to answer your questions through the email as well. That works out really good because you can, you know, interact back and forth, and it just works. It works good. So you're always welcome to email me. Robert Black says, I will really appreciate it when I'm done, for keeps forever. Yeah. Every project I do like that, even the stuff I've done on my Class A motorhome when I had it, I always really loved, you know, the project and the satisfaction of sitting back and, you know, saying that, you know, you did it yourself and that it turned out nice and it looks nice, is very rewarding for sure. Two Feathers says it does look like a fun project, though. Tom Downey just says build a new one. Well, yeah, I suppose, you know, you could probably build a new one, but what fun would that be? Randy Waller agrees with Tom. You guys, give you the raspberry. Judy Kimbrough says he is building a new one at this point. Yeah, not quite, guys. Come on. Yeah, KX Racer knows for sure that building a new one will take way longer than restoring it with new lumber like I'm doing. Because that's pretty much what he had to do with his, is basically scrapped the superstructure and reused all of the material out of it and built a new one basically with with the stuff out of the old one. It turned out nice. Go over and check his channel out. It's definitely worth it. He's got 50 odd episodes of his truck camper rebuild, and the cat thing is kind of funny too. If you want to know about the cat thing, go watch his videos. Tim Eric C. Okay, hi. My RV hot water tank takes about 3 times to light. Every time it needs to heat the water, it will light up then stop. Okay, could be a couple things. One, it could be the thermocouple. 2, it could be the nozzle, the jet, the burner jet. What do they call that? I should know this. I'm pulling a blank right now. Could be dirty. There's a there's a sensor in there that senses when the fire is burning, right? And if that sensor is not working correctly, that could be the cause of it. But more than likely, it's probably dirty, and it probably just needs to be serviced really, really, really well. And maybe the burner nozzle jet thing might need to be changed or replaced. But yeah, so you say it lights, it shuts off, lights, shuts off, and on the 3rd try it lights and stays lit. So yeah, and how long does it run before it stops and cycles? So does it start and then instantly turn off, or does it start, run for a couple seconds, and then turn off? Tim Eric C. Rude Crude Food, Seattle. Hi, I love Seattle. It's probably one of my favorite towns. I could live in Seattle if it didn't rain 250 days a year there. I traveled to Seattle probably for 9 years for my previous job, and I think I saw the sunshine twice in that 9 years. I'm just teasing you. Shauna asks, oh yeah, that's a good question too. Oh, wait a minute, I jumped ahead here. Oh, Tim Myers mentions to Tim Eric, wants to know what the flame looks like when it's burning. That's a good question. If it's nice and bright blue, then you're good. If it's orange or yellow, then okay. So Tim writes back, orifice. Thank you, Tim. It starts and runs for like a minute, and then it shuts off. Okay, so it's very likely, given that, it could be that sensor in there. They call it the flame sensor. And in some of these water heaters, it depends on kind of which one you have, the flame sensor is a part of the igniter, and it'll have 2 wires on it. One is the flame sensor. And if that flame sensor, after it starts, doesn't report back to the smarts, the computer, the control board really, that it's getting hot, then it'll shut off the water heater for safety purposes, so there's not just gas going into the combustion chamber. So I would look at those 2 things. And then, like Tim Myers said, check the quality of your flame and make sure your flame is a nice bright blue and not yellow or orangish. If it's yellow or orangish, that typically indicates that you've got a dirty orifice. Thank you, Tim. And or there could be another question too. You've had the cover off of it, and you've made sure there's no insect nests, no wasp nests, none of that stuff in there, right, Tim Eric? Okay, Shauna asks, how can I clean out my water tank? Her RV is a Class C 2012. It doesn't look dirty, and I do not drink it, but I feel the need to clean it anyway. Is this something I should do every so often? Yes, Shauna, you should do that once a year. And there's an article on my website, and there's a video on my channel about how to sanitize your freshwater holding tank. Let me pop open a window here, and I'll grab that video for you. I miss having Aaron here. He would run out and let's see here. Let me see if I can find this real quick. There it is. And let me grab this. Paste. Okay, Shauna, that link that I just pasted in the chat window will take you to my sanitizing your RV's freshwater holding tank. Watch that video. It's only 7 minutes and change long, and that'll show you and talk you through how to sanitize it. And yes, you should do it once a year. Usually, I try to do mine in the spring, as a rule of thumb. Randy says he's planning to change AC, going from AC to DC units. Yeah, Randy, that's becoming a popular option. I looked at a DC only air conditioner, and I was shocked at the prices. They were like $2,000, and I need an AC on my truck camper. The one that was on it is missing. The louver inside was there, but there was no unit on top, and the top had been patched with a piece of galvanized tin. And then they used on the truck camper, they used asphaltic waterproofing like you would use on an asphalt roof, and that stuff is so hard to get off. It just it's horrible. Tim Eric C says the area around the hot water tank is clear of any debris. Okay. Debris. Okay, good. So that's a good start. Yeah, I would fire it up and look at the flame, check that flame quality. That sensor may be failing, not reporting back. That could be another cause. Those are the two things that come to my mind, to the top of my mind. Those are things that could definitely cause that to happen. If I was to go with my gut, I'd say it's probably the flame sensor, since it runs for a minute and then shuts off. How long is it turned off for? How long does it stay turned off before it tries to refire, Tim? Okay, so if you have any questions, throw them over in the chat window. I don't really have anything prepared today, other than, we'll just have a quick chat here, and then, maybe we'll wrap it up early tonight. Let's see here. I need to move this cable. So when I was messing around with the thing, I got the cable in the way. Okay. KX Racer says, if you need an AC, did I consider putting a 5,000 BTU window unit in like I did? You have the framework torn apart now. It would be the time to install a window unit. Yeah, and actually there is a window in the back of the camper, and I am considering that, KX. Definitely considering putting in a 5,000 BTU, which is more than enough to cool a truck camper, like you did. And I have a window. I think it might be on the same side as where you put yours. Of course, I would want to reframe it. And sorry, reading comments and trying to answer questions has never worked good. But yeah, talking about ACs, I'm definitely thinking about that for sure. He says his AC only pulls 450 to 500 watts. That would be good. I'm planning on doing at least a 2,000 watt inverter. So I think my inverter will be plenty big to drive a window AC. And yeah, I'm definitely considering that. I'm just considering my options right now. Tim Meyer says the flame sensor might not be near the center of the flame also. Yeah, that's a definite possibility, for sure. And then Tim Eric wrote back, the hot water tank will light about 20 to 25 seconds after the shut off. All right, yeah, that's telling me that it's probably a flame sensor, because that would be the way it works is that the water heater should start, the flame should start, the flame sensor sets in the flame, and what happens is as it gets hot, the resistance of that wire goes to almost zero, which is then a ground, and the computer sees it grounded and it says, okay, the flame is burning. If after a certain amount of time it doesn't see that sensor grounding, then it shuts off, because that could be a sign that there's just raw gas going into combustion chamber, and you want to monitor that. You don't want raw gas going in there and having a bunch of raw gas in there and then try to restart it. You could have a small explosion. It wouldn't be a large one, but it could be a good explosion and damage the unit. Shauna asks, when my RV is sitting, would it be a good idea to take the battery cable off? Probably not, Shauna, unless you've been having trouble with it starting. You know, if you're worried about it running the battery down, and I'm talking the chassis battery. You know, keep in mind that there are two battery systems in your RV. Okay, there's the house batteries, and those are the batteries that run all of this stuff inside the RV, the 110 outlets and that sort of stuff. And then there's the chassis battery, and that battery is the battery that starts your chassis, runs the headlights, and all of the chassis related functions. So if you're parking it for winter and you live in a cold climate, you're in northern Arizona, so what are you up around Flag? You're going to get cold weather up there, enough that it freezes. You should probably, let me cycle back here and say, you're not living in it full time, correct? This is a weekender or a vacation type home. You're not full timing. If you'll answer that question for me, then I can make a recommendation on that. Tom Downey next, the total wash wax on the coach. Yeah, I do that every year. In fact, in 2016, I did a paint correction on the whole coach. I did a complete cut and buff, and then I renewed the wax, and then every year, at least once a year, and sometimes twice a year, I would re-wax it, and it looked great. I mean, yeah, there was some, scars in the paint, which is to be expected. So. Oh, Shauna says she's in Prescott. Okay, so you don't get terribly cold at Prescott, but it gets chilly enough. Shauna, what I would recommend is that on my website, trbolin.com, I'll run over there and I'll pick this article up for you. I actually have two articles related to, one, how to store your RV for winter. Two, how to get your RV ready for spring. And give me just a second here, and I will find those articles. They're over on my website, Spring RV Dewinterization, and let's see here. Where's it at? Here we go. This is a good article for you. This is basically the top 18 tips for, Control Z. All right, so that link will take you to an article about preparing your RV for storage. And then I have another article on my website that is how to get it dewinterized and ready for spring. And that is this one right here. Now, since you don't live where it gets super cold, I know Prescott will get down to, freezing, but not hard freezing, if memory serves me correctly. So anyway, and since you're part-time in it, I would recommend that you do the spring and fall startup and winterization. Uh, that'll just keep everything in good shape. The articles explain to you, what to do with your batteries, your water system, all that sort of stuff. Jeff Ripplinger says that Shauna depends on the RV. In my Class A, he had to install chassis battery disconnect because there are systems in the RV that draw on the chassis batteries 24/7, and it kept killing my batteries. Yeah, that's a definite possibility, Jeff. Um, so yeah, having disconnects is a good idea. In Shauna's case, if you go by the maintenance article that I put out for winterization, I recommend that you pull the batteries out and put them in the garage for winter if you live where it gets really cold. But yeah, that could definitely be a problem. Shauna says she's going to watch all my videos this weekend. Well, there's 270 of them, so I think you'll be more than a weekend. What I would recommend is start with my RV how-to playlist. That's going to get you into the core of the RVing stuff. There are other articles, the blogging, whatever you want to call it, some travel vlogging, a little bit of fishing and stuff like that on my channel. If you want to watch those, great. Happy to have you as a member of the family. It's half past the hour. Time for the cheap promotional plug. As a reminder, I do have a link to my Amazon store in the description below. And if you want to support the channel, you can click into Amazon using that link. And anything you purchase that day, I'll get credit for. And every little bit helps. Visit my website, trbolin.com. Lots of great information over there. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Give that video a thumbs up. That is super helpful. Gets the video ranked up so other people get to see it. And join us on Tuesday nights at 7 for this live stream. And then Sundays, I usually release a video of some sort. I've been doing it on Sunday mornings since I've been out in the evenings and doing other stuff. So I just changed my video publishing schedule on Sunday to usually, I think I've been doing it around 6 a.m. Mountain. That's what's been tickling my fancy. Tom Downey says he uses a battery maintainer set to keep the batteries at 13.3. Yeah, that's perfect. I have I had a chassis battery charging system on the Class A, and of course I had solar. But I would shut all that down when I put it away for winter and pull the batteries out. Randy Waller wants to know if I've been fishing at all. I have not. The water's been really high, but I'll be getting out here really soon, Randy, for sure. Shauna says, thanks, guys. I have a lot of silly questions. I appreciate you. Yep, and Randy just beat me to the punch. Yeah, the only silly questions are the one you don't ask. This channel, you can ask any question, and this is a judgment-free channel. There are no stupid questions. There might be some stupid answers, but there are no stupid questions. This is a free and open forum. You can ask any question related to RVing. Well, you can ask any question. You might not get an answer to some of them. But you can ask any question. This is an open forum for anybody that has questions about RVing. And, we're happy to help. There's a bunch of guys that are on the stream here. Tim Myers and Eric Myers and Tom Downey and Robert Black and guys like that who, have been RVing for a really long time. And if I don't know the answer, they might. And if I don't have the answer, I write it down and look it up and answer your question next week. Tom says it keeps from resetting keep live codes. Yeah, it does that. The other thing too, Tom, on the Freightliner and the Spartans, if you set with the batteries disconnected for, I think, 30 days, the transmission programming goes offline and it has to reprogram itself. Now, it does it automatically, but the Allison 3000, 4000 series trannies that run on the Spartan and or the Freightliner chassis, the transmission control unit learns your driving characteristics and it'll adjust. It also adjusts for altitude and all kinds of stuff. And if you ever have your batteries disconnected for a long period of time and then you go get back in the RV and you go to drive it and you notice that it's shifting differently, that's because the transmission is relearning itself. That cost me $400 to learn that. The first year I had my Newmar, and I took, disconnect the batteries, put them in the garage for winter. Always done that. And then come spring, I took it out for a ride, and I'm like, what the hell's the matter with the transmission? So it'll adjust the set points on the shift to the shift points and all that kind of stuff. So anyway. Eric Myers, good point. He says there's no silly questions, especially if you're new. Absolutely. That's why we're here is if you're new, well, it's anybody can ask a question. But yeah, this is free and judgment-free zone, Two Feathers says her RV upholstery job is going well. Not ready for the reveal yet. Yeah, good. Be sure and send some photos, and we'll share them with the whole group the Tuesday after I get them. Always happy to share people's photos. We got to see a bunch of Ian's new rig last week. Man, that thing was sweet. Tom Downey, his requires special Cummins tool. It's 150 per zap. Yeah, we're not talking engine, we're talking transmission, and I don't think that's different on the Spartan, because I've read guys with the Spartans asking about their 3 and 4 series Allisons, and it's that they have to reprogram themselves. They come out of the factory at one setting, and then with altitude, you're driving the way you drive, there's all kinds of things that go into it, and it readjusts the shift points and does that all automatically. And there is a way that you can walk through, there's a whole, 10 paragraphs in the manual for the tranny that walks you through how to do the reset. You have to drive it on the floor this far. I just let it go, and it usually takes a day or two of driving, and it gets itself worked back into where it's supposed to be. Robert Black says, it's way better to ask questions than to have a stressful trip vacation. For sure. Yeah, and you might save yourself some money if you come here and ask questions, because we might be able to tell you how to fix something that if you took it to the RV store, it might cost you $500 and it might cost you $20 out of pocket to fix. So, yeah. Robert Black says, I would think a good dealer shop would know to ask the battery questions and not charge you $400. Yeah, well, I don't think they were a good shop. I don't use them anymore. Actually, they're not even in business anymore. Freightliner of Idaho got bought out by Penske about 3-4 years ago, something like that. I had several issues with Freightliner of Idaho. I had a wheel bearing going south, and I had it changed out. And I got to Knoxville, Tennessee, and the wheel bearing was leaking. The wheel bearing seal was leaking on a brand new fix. Fortunately, the Knoxville shop worked with the Idaho shop. It was Twin Falls is where it was. And they worked out a deal where I didn't have to pay for it. I think the Freightliner shop, because that's like maybe 2,000 miles. It should have lasted a hell of a lot longer than 2,000 miles. Okay. 3 minutes, that is, you can't do one at a time. It's done by the Cummins plug. Got it. Tim Myers says he's hoping to get his journey back from Cummins Coach Care this week. He's had it in for a little bit of a maintenance cycle, which is always a good thing to do. So let's throw back over and say if there's any questions you might have, feel free to ask them. Make a comment. That's always nice as well. Give the video a thumbs up if you're so inclined. I always appreciate that. And this might be a short one. Last week we went almost an hour and a half. This week it looks like we're going to be done in 45 minutes. I'll take a little sip of tea. Oh, Tom Downey says, remember my coach is on the CAP system. Yeah. Got it. Two Feathers says she was going to go South Dakota to see the tribe, but with gas being $5.15 a gallon, I'm having second thoughts. Well, I don't blame you. It jumped up again here locally. It was $4.60 something. I bought gas at Costco. It was less than that. I think it was $4.50 approximately. I don't know. I didn't pay that close of attention. And then it went to $4.89, and it's over $5 in many places. Yeah, so Tim Meyer says he paid $5.15 for gas. Robert Black asks, do you rotate your fifth wheel tires? I don't believe that's recommended. Now, somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you should rotate the fifth wheel tires. I don't know of anybody that does. You don't rotate the tires on your RV either, unlike your car, like a Class A, C. You don't rotate those tires either. First off, what would you do with the rear, with the dualies in the rear, right? You know, because when you're rotating radials, it's side to side. You know, you cross. You don't cross the corners with radial tires. I think there might be a way to do it if you're rotating a spare, but no, and especially like my car, all-wheel drive vehicles are really sensitive to having the same, you know, that the tire sizes are all pretty close to the same, and so they always swap side on that. But how would you do that with the duals on a Class A or a C, or even a Class B? And on fifth wheels, yeah, I don't believe that they rotate those. Tom Downey says it will require $1,000 to fill up. I swap left to right on the steer tires. Yeah, I believe you can do that, but my take is you're going to get 6 years on a set of tires max. And even me, over my 10 years, I averaged 7,000 miles a year. So that's 36,000 miles. I don't know. I never rotated my tires, but that's also, I would have covered 2 sets of tires in 10 years for sure. Because I replaced them in 14, 13. I replaced the tires in 13, and then I had a tire separating, a front tire separating, and replaced it. Had to replace the front tires in 17. I think that's about it. Somewhere in there, 17. I just replaced them all again. Eric Meyer says, He was also going to South Dakota, $1,200 out of my way. Yeah. Tim Meyer says his wife bought a reprint of the B-29 training manual for his birthday. Cool. He says, I think I saw a picture of Tom Downey in the manual. Good one, Tim. He says, it could be me. That's pretty funny. You guys are characters. Okay, last call for questions. Or just joking around, if you don't... I generally try to keep the questions rolling, but, if you guys want to just sit and chat for a few minutes, that's fine too. But we'll wait. I know there's some lag. Some people will be, 30 to 40 seconds behind. And I've cut people off inadvertently who have come on late in the stream and asked a question, but they were out of sync with where the video was, because you can join a live stream and you may not come in right at the very exact point we are. You might come in a minute or two behind, depending upon your connection speed and a bunch of stuff like that. But alrighty, well, I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my birthday. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me tonight. And thanks for your great questions. We'll be back next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, for another live stream where you can ask any RV-related question. And again, there are no silly, stupid questions. We're here to help. We've all been there before. We've all had those questions, and so we're nothing stupid, nothing crazy. All right, so let's call her good. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday. Good night, Tim and KX Racer, Robert Black. Have a great evening. Tom, good night. Tim, Judy, Jeff, Shauna, Two Feathers. So nice to have you all show up tonight. And thanks for the birthday wishes there, KX Racer. All right. Good night, folks. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.